Hello students, once again welcome to corporate accounting class. In this class we will solve one more example on the calculation of managerial remuneration. You can observe, you can see on the screen here a problem related to calculation of managerial remuneration. A manager of a company is entitled to a commission at a certain percentage of net profits. You can write down this example. Such commission is to be charged in arriving at net profit. Commission is allowed on the following rates. Right? The manager is entitled to commission at a certain profit, certain percentage of net profit, and that commission is charged in arriving the net profit. Such commission is to be charged in arriving at the net profit. Commission is allowed on the rates. The following rates are given here. On the first 10,000 of the net profit, no commission is given. On the next 20,000 of the net profit, 10% commission is allowed. And next 30,000 of the net profit, 15% commission is allowed. And next 60,000 of the net profit, 20% of the commission is allowed or given, and on the balance of the net profit, 30% of the commission is allowed, commission is given. The net profit before charging manager's commission is rupees 1,45,000. Isn't it? Net profit before charging manager's commission is 1,45,000. Now calculate the amount of manager's commission. Now here, at a certain rate, manager is allowed commission. If the net profit is in the first 10,000 of the profit, no commission is given. Right? In the next 20,000 of the profit, 10% commission is allowed, and the next 30,000 of the net profit, 15% commission is given, right? And next 60,000 of the net profit, 20% commission is given, and on the balance of the net profit, 30% commission is given. And the net profit of the company before charging the total net profit of the company before charging manager's commission is 1,45,000. Before charging commission 1,45,000. Now, you have to calculate the net profit, right, before charging commission up to 30% of the net profit. What is the total net profit before charging commission included? Up to 30% commission is allowed, right? Up to 10% commission is allowed, right? So suppose the profit is 10,000, no commission is given. Suppose the profit is 20,000, on the profit of 20,000, commission allowed is 10%. And what is the total profit involved in this profit? The total profit including commission you have to calculate for 20,000. Total net profit, right, including 15% commission you have to calculate, and total net profit including 20% commission you have to calculate. So up to 20% of the commission, up to 20%, payment of 20% of commission, what is the total net profit included before charging commission you have to calculate, right? Because the total profit given is before charging commission. The total profit given 1,45,000 is before charging manager's commission. Therefore, up to 20% of the profit, right, you have to calculate before charging commission up to 20% of the profit. So that will be by calculating this. A calculation of commission payable to the manager. The commission payable to the manager is calculated in this way. See, the profit 10,000, first 10,000, no commission is given, but total profit considered is 10,000. If no commission is allowed, but the total profit of the company is how much? 10,000. On the next 20,000 net profit, commission is 10%. Commission is 10%. 10% means 2,000 is the commission, but the total profit included in that, total profit included, the total net profit considered, right, before charging commission is 22,000, isn't it? After charging commission, it is, the net profit is 20,000. Before charging commission, net profit is 22,000, right? And for the next 30,000 of the net profit, commission is 15%. For the next 30,000 rupees, 30,000 of the net profit, 15% commission means, right? Total commission is 4,500, but the total profit including commission, the net profit including commission is 34,500. And on the next 60,000, profit is, commission is 20% of the net profit, right? On the next 60,000, commission is 20%. 20% means it is 12,000 rupees total commission, 12,000 rupees commission, and the total profit included before charging commission is 72,000, right? Now this is the profit after charging commission. On the net profit, commission is 20% means 12,000 is the commission. Therefore, total profit included in this total profit is 72,000. So 72,000 consists of 120%, including 20% commission, and 34,500 consists of 115%, including commission. 22,000 profit consists of, right, 10% commission. 22,000 is 110%, and 10,000 is the profit, total profit. In this profit, no commission is included. So the total profit before charging commission is how much? 1,38,000, because in all these profit, commission is included. These profits are including commission, before charging commission. 10,000 profit is no commission, 22,000 profit is including commission or before charging commission, 34,500 is also before charging commission, 72,000 is also before charging commission. Commission is this much. Commission is, it is 20% of 10% on 20,000 or 110%. This is 110%. 22,000 is 110%. 20,000 is 100%. So 110%. 22,000 divided by 110, right? Into 10 will be 2,000 rupees. If you calculate 110% on 22,000, right? 10% of 110 of 10%, 2,000, or 20,000, 10% also 2,000. This is 34,500 means 115%, because in this amount 15% commission is included. So 115% of, right? 115%. You can calculate here 15% on 30,000 or 115% on 34,500 will be the same, right? Because 34,500 including 15% commission. And even this 12,000 is also commission. This is on 20,000, 20% on 60,000, or this is 72,000. 72,000 means 120%. 120%, right? On this 20% will be 72,000. 12,000. So the total profit up to 20% of commission before charging commission will be 1,38,000. This is 1,38,000 is the total profit up to 20% commission before charging 20% commission. 10%, 15% and 20% commission before charging 20%, 10%, 20%, 15%. Commission is 38,500. Total commission is 18,500. Now the profit given here is 1,45,000 before charging commission. Total profit of the company before charging commission is 1,45,000 and up to 20% of the profit, up to 20% commission, up to commission up to 20% of net profit before charging the commission is 1,38,500 and the balance of the profit is 6,500 before charging commission. The balance of the profit 6,500 is before charging commission and on the balance of the profit 30% commission is charged, right? So 30% commission is charged on the balance of the profit and this balance of profit is before charging commission because the total profit given 1,45,000 is before charging commission and up to 20% commission the profit before charging is 1,38,000 and this 6,500 is the net profit before charge, balance of net profit. This is the balance of net profit before charging commission. And on the balance of the net profit and balance of net profit, commission is 30%. So balance of the net profit is how much here? Balance of the net profit out of 1,45,000 total profit and 1,38,500 is the net profit before charging commission. Therefore, balance of net profit before charging commission is 6,500. Right? 6,500 is the balance of profit and on the balance of profit 30% is the commission. Now, what is the amount of commission on this? The amount of commission on 6,500 balance of net profit is 30%. But this net profit is before charging commission. This net profit is before charging 30% commission. It means it includes 30% commission. This 6,500 includes 30% commission. Therefore, this is 130%. 6,500 is what? 130%. So, 30% of 130, right? 6,500. 6,500 is 130%. Therefore, 30% will be 1,500. So, commission on the balance of profit 6,500 is 1,500, right? 1,500 and the total commission will be total commission up to 20% of the net profit is 18,500 as we have calculated. Total commission up to 20%. Up to 20% of the net profit is 18,500 and on the balance of the net profit, the balance of the net profit is 1,500. Therefore, total commission payable to the managerial person is 20,000. Total commission is 20,000 on the 20,000 payable to the managerial personnel. So this is how we have to calculate at a certain percentage on some portion of the net profit. Some portion of net profit. So some certain rates of commission at a certain slab is given. So the total, so you have to identify what is the total profit, whether the total profit is before charging commission or after charging commission, right? If the total profit is before charging commission, you have to calculate up to 20% of the profit, commission up to 20% of the profit before charging commission and find out the balance of profit before charging commission. On that balance of profit, calculate, right? Then the balance of profit is including commission here. 6,500 is including 30% commission, means it is 130%. Therefore, 30% of this will be 1,500. Therefore, total commission will be 18,500 plus 1,500. 20,000 is the total commission payable to the managerial personnel. So this is how you have to work out, you have to calculate that managerial remuneration. Now, we have seen some of the important aspects, special aspects related to the final accounts of the company, that is, it may be declaration of dividend, it may be transfer of profit to general reserve, and it may be related to the divisible profits or managerial remuneration. Various special aspects we have discussed on taking into consideration the various provisions of the Companies Act 2013. Various provisions of the Companies Act relating to the divisible profits, relating to transfer to reserve, relating to declaration of dividend, and also relating to managerial remuneration, isn't it? Now, final accounts consists of, or final accounts includes, or the preparation of final accounts of a joint stock company is to be taking into account, after considering the various provisions relating to the various special aspects. Now, when the final accounts of the company is to be prepared, or financial statements of the company is prepared, as we have already studied that the financial statements of the company, according to the Companies Act of 2013, the format and the content of the financial statements. Financial statements generally consist of a statement of profit or loss and the balance sheet of the company. Now, as I told you earlier, now the changed act, the revised act of 2013, right, points out various what is called as changes that is needed, and also in the Act of 2013 the various changes are made in the preparation of financial statements. The earlier Act of 1956, right, the financial statement was prepared in a horizontal format, T-shape. It was called as trading account, manufacturing account, and the balance sheet, right? And there is no restriction regarding the financial year, but in the changed act, the new act of 2013 has made a number of changes in the preparation and presentation of financial statements. Now it is to be prepared, the financial statement, especially the balance sheet of the company and also the statement of profit and loss of the company, should be prepared in the vertical format, and this format is given as per Schedule 3 of the Companies Act of 2013, and the financial statements, especially the balance sheet as well as the statement of profit and loss, should be prepared in the same format. It should be prepared and presented in the same format and including the same contents which are given in the Schedule 3 of the Companies Act of 2013, right? And also I told you there is a change in the financial year. The financial year of the company should always be ending on 31st March, right? The financial statements shall give a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the company. The financial statements prepared, that is, the balance sheet as well as the statement of profit or loss must be prepared and must give a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the companies. The sense that the balance sheet must show the correct value, true value of assets and liabilities, so that it must show the correct financial position of the company, true values of assets, true and fair values of assets and liabilities, so that the financial position of the company should be correct, and also the profit or loss shown in the statement of profit or loss must also correct. Correct profit or loss should be shown in the statement of profit or loss. Now one change is, earlier it was profit and loss account, now it is called as statement of profit or loss. Financial statement means balance sheet and the statement of profit or loss. And also it must comply with the accounting standards notified under section 133 and shall be given in the form or forms as may be provided for different class or classes of companies in Schedule 3. Right? The financial statement should be prepared by following the various accounting standards notified in the section 133. Accounting standards, it may be international accounting standard, Indian accounting standard, right? So, accounting the standards notifies how and in what way the various items of the financial statement should be presented and various rules and regulations regarding that. And it must be prepared in the same format, must be the same manner as per section 133. And the format and contents of the financial statements are given in Schedule 3 of the Companies Act. So, what this Schedule 3 of the Companies Act shows? The Schedule 3 of the Companies Act of 2013 prescribes the vertical format for the presentation of balance sheet and statement of profit and loss. So, we know that the balance sheet consists of various kinds of assets and liabilities, isn't it? We have prepared balance sheet of operating concern, we have prepared balance sheet of a partnership firm, we have prepared balance sheet of various other business operations. Balance sheet consists of assets and liabilities. So the balance sheet of a sole trader can be prepared in any manner. There is no prescribed rule. You can show all the assets on the asset side, liabilities on the liability side. There is no classification of assets. There is no classification of liabilities. You can show in any order assets and liabilities. In any way, any form you can show. Right? And also statement of profit and loss. But in case of companies, just the companies, the Companies Act of 2013 prescribes the format. It is vertical format and how it is to be presented. The various items of the balance sheet, how it is to be presented is given in this particular schedule. So, the balance sheet should be prepared in the same manner, in the same format as it is prescribed in the Schedule 3. That means it cannot be presented in any manner. All balance sheet consists of assets and liabilities. The assets and liabilities must be presented in a particular order, in a particular format only. You have to show and classify the assets into various categories, and you have to show and classify the liabilities into various categories. That format is given here, and according to that format only, one must prepare the statement of profit or loss and the balance sheet. I think you might have also gone through the format of balance sheet and also the format of the statement of profit or loss, isn't it? Now I will just go through this. I will just show you what is the format of this balance sheet of the company. Right? Schedule 3 of as per the revised Schedule 3 of the Companies Act 2013, the balance sheet of the company consists of, right? Balance sheet is the vertical format of the balance sheet. Vertical format of the balance sheet consists of these information. First you have to show the liabilities. And under liabilities also the various categories of liabilities, headings. The equity and liabilities are shown first, right? And under the equities and liabilities, are to be presented in this particular format only. That is, first category of liabilities, shareholders fund, is equities. First you have to consider, you have to take equities. Equity consists of shareholders funds. Shareholder fund consists of share capital, reserves and surplus, and money received against share warrant. Right? This is the category of equity. You will be knowing that all these things. Share capital is shareholders. Here, share capital, here only you have to show the paid up capital, not all the categories of share capital that is shown here. Right? What is the paid up, net paid up capital? You have to show, and the various information regarding share capital must be shown in the note. In the note number. You have to show separately for each item's notes, right? The details of this will be shown in the note, and the net amount of share capital should be shown here. It is only the last amount or paid up capital. Share capital you have been knowing, authorized capital, issued capital, right? Subscribed capital, authorized, subscribed, right? Sorry, authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, called up capital, paid up capital, right? The net amount you have to show here after deducting or after taking into consideration the forfeiture of shares also. Reserves and surplus you will be knowing various kinds of reserves. Maybe it includes capital reserve, revenue reserve, or any other reserves, right? Share premium account and accumulated surpluses of the previous year, and also the various types of reserves you have to show here. It will be capital redemption reserve, investment fluctuation reserve. All types of reserves are shown under these categories, and the various details regarding these reserves and surplus are shown in note details, right? And net amount of reserves and surplus are shown here. Here you have to take into account current year's profit, previous year's profit, after deducting, after distribution of dividends and all those things. Net amount will be shown in this column, amount column, and in the note you have to give the details. And the third heading here is money received against share warrants. Money received against share warrants not to be, right, evaluated, right? It can be shown here as a special note, under the special note. This is what the three heads of shareholders funds. Separately you have to show, and the details you have to show in the notes. The second category, second classification in the balance sheet is share application money pending allotment. Share application money, if it is pending allotment, right, application money which is pending allotment, that should be shown under the separate categories, that is share application money pending allotment. And the third category is non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities generally consist of long-term liabilities, the liabilities which are not repayable within 1 year. Liabilities which are not repayable. It is long-term borrowings, deferred tax liabilities, other long-term liabilities, and long-term provisions. It may be debentures, it may be long-term loans and advances. Long-term borrowings means long-term loans and advances, debentures, right? And deferred tax liability, net amount, that can be shown. And other long-term liabilities, apart from this, there may be, if there is any other long-term liabilities, that should be shown. And long-term provisions, the provisions created for more than 1 year, right? Provisions for retirement, provision for retirement, provision for any long-term liabilities there, that should be shown under the separate heading under, right, non-current liabilities. And this is again classified, fourth category of liabilities are classified as current liabilities. As you already know that current liabilities are the liabilities which are liabilities repayable within 1 year. Repayable within 1 year, right? It may be short-term borrowings, short-term loans and advances, loans and advances taken in less than 1 year period. Trade payables, payment to creditors and bills payable. Trade payable consists of creditors and bills payable. Other current liabilities, if the current liability is not falling under any of these categories, other current liabilities should be shown. And short-term provisions, if there is any, a provision created for, right, 1 year, provision for tax, provision for tax, provision for corporate dividend tax, right, or dividends, provision for dividends, those are shown in the separate heading called as current liabilities. These are the various current liabilities, and for each item of the assets, each item of these liabilities, right, long-term liability or current liability, if any details should be shown, the details should be shown under the notes, separate notes, and only net amount you have to show in this format. So that will be the total liabilities. The total liabilities consist of shareholders' funds, right, and share application money, pending allotment, non-current liability and current liability. Therefore, it consists of total of 1. 1 means shareholder fund. Total of 2, that means share application money, pending allotment. Total of 3, it is non-current liabilities. Total of 4. So total will be the total liabilities, isn't it? And below that we have to show the various assets. The main categories of assets, second part of the balance sheet. First part is equity and also liabilities, and second part is assets. Mainly the assets are classified into two important categories. That is non-current assets and current assets. Only two categories of assets. And under non-current assets, fixed assets, non-current investment, long-term loans advances, other non-current assets are shown. Right? Here, non-current asset means includes these four types: fixed assets, non-current investment, long-term loans and advances, and other non-current assets. Isn't it? So in the fixed asset, you know that fixed asset consists of both tangible and intangible assets. Both you have to show here, right? Net amount of both you have to show, and if any details are there, details regarding depreciation and all those, sale, depreciation, those should be shown in the notes, right? And net amount should be shown here. Tangible assets are land, building, furniture, machinery, all the assets which you can see, touch and felt are shown in the assets category. And intangible assets are goodwill, brands, trademarks, right, copyrights, all those assets you have to show. Software, right, computer software, that will be shown here in the intangible assets. And in the case of intangible assets also, net amount should be shown. Any amortization, it may be depreciation. In the case of tangible assets, we call it as depreciation, reduction in the value of tangible asset. And in the case of intangible asset, amortization of intangible assets should be shown separately in the notes, and net amount of assets are shown here. Right? Fixed asset consists of tangible and intangible. Similarly, second category is non-current investments. Non-current investments. If the company, right, invests, that is long-term investments of the company. Long-term investments. So the investments are made more than for 1 year period, that is considered long-term, non-current investment. And non-current investments are shown under separate headings, right, under fixed assets, non-current assets. Similarly, long-term loans and advances. Long-term loans and advances also, loans and advances given by the company to others, subsidiaries or other persons or other institutions. If there is any long-term means not more than, when it is receivable in more than 1 year period, right? That is shown under the separate heading, long-term loans and advances, right? Here, asset side also, liability side also, we get long-term liabilities, long-term provisions, long-term borrowings. Borrowings means it is loan taken by the company. Here, asset means here loan given by the company to others. And other non-current assets, if there is any other assets, fixed assets which are not coming under the above categories, all other non-current liability assets are shown under separate headings, isn't it? And again, assets are classified as current assets also. Current assets. It consists of right? See, current assets are those, circuit also called as circulating assets, the assets which are, right, used in the business for 1 year period, within 1 year, utilized within 1 year period. So current investments, short-term investments of the company, the investment made by the company for less than 1 year period. Inventories means stock of goods, stock of raw materials, stock of work in progress, all those consist of raw material inventories. Trade receivables includes bills receivable and debtors. Cash and equivalents includes cash balance, bank balance, and other cash if there is any. Short-term loans and advances. If the loans and advances given by the company less than 1 year period, and other current liabilities. Your current liability which is not falling under the above categories, any other current assets are there that should be shown in these categories. So these are the two categories of assets, non-current assets and current assets, and for details you have to show the note and net amount you have to take. That will be the total assets. Assets must be total of current and non-current assets category 1 and the total of current assets category 2. That will be the total assets. Total liabilities and total assets must be same. You can, I think you have already gone through and you have already taken, you may know this particular format of statement balance sheet, right? Similarly, financial statement consists of statement of profit or loss. Earlier it was called as profit and loss account, trading account, profit and loss account, profit and loss account. Now it is called as statement of profit or loss. So the statement of profit or loss should also be prepared in the same manner as it is prescribed in the Companies Act. Schedule 3 of the Companies Act of 2013, isn't it? So here the statement of profit or loss also is categorized. It consists of the various revenues and expenses. Earlier we used to show in the statement of profit in the trading account and balance sheet. We used to show, right, all the incomes at the credit side and all the expenses on the debit side of trading account and profit and loss account. So here it is classified as revenues and expenses. All the credit side items of trading and profit and loss account will be coming in this category, revenues. All the debit side items of trading and profit and loss account are classified as expenses, right? So revenues consists of revenue from operation, means it is from the sale of goods. Revenue from operation consists of revenue from sale of goods and services, amount received, receivable, right? Amount received or receivable from the sale of goods or services. It is revenue from the main activities of the business. It is revenue from operations that is shown separately. Here previous year's figures can also be shown here as 31st March. It is an example here, right? It is an example. Both previous year's figures and current year's figures are shown. But in the preparation of financial statement, in examination you have to consider only current year's figure, right? And note for these items should also be shown under the note sides. Revenue from operation consists of total revenue. Total net revenue means here returns, if there is any, all those things should be deducted, net amount should be taken into consideration. Other incomes, if there is any, other income means any income generated from other sources also. It may be interest received, commission received, rent received, right? Any other income from other source, discount received should be shown, other income categories, and separate note should be given. Both revenue from operation and other income, total is called as total revenue. Right? And again here, the expenses category. Second category is total expenses here. As I already told you, the trading account and profit and loss account debit side items are profit and loss expenses. Trading and profit and loss account credit side items are revenues. Right? So, cost of materials consumed during the year, cost of material consumed. The material consumed you have to show. Purchase of stock, purchase made in the current year. And changes in inventory or changes in stock. Changes in inventory means changes in stock, right? Changes in inventory means changes in finished goods, work in progress and stock in trade. Changes in inventory means closing stock minus opening stock. Sorry, opening stock minus closing stock, or there may see changes means any change in the opening stock and closing stock should be shown. It may be a negative figure also, it may be a positive figure also. Right? Changes in inventory, you have to show here. Any difference in the opening stock and closing stock. Similarly, employee benefit expenses. So all these are taken in trading account. And employee benefit expenses means the expenses related to the employees. That may be salary payment, ESI, provident fund, relating expenses or employee benefit expenses. Finance cost related to interests or interest paid or payable, interest on loan, interest on debentures, or all interest on short-term borrowings, long-term borrowings are shown under the categories finance cost. And depreciation and amortization. Depreciation and amortization is separate categories. That means here depreciation on fixed assets, amortization on intangible assets, goodwill is shown under the separate categories. Total amount of depreciation and amortization expenses. Right? And all other expenses which are not taken in the above categories. The expenses which are not taken in above categories are shown under the separate heading called as other expenses category. Now here, the expenses here, cost of material consumed, purchase of stock, changes in inventories will be taken in the, these are the items usually taken in the trading account, isn't it? Employee benefit expenses, finance cost, depreciation and amortization, other expenses are taken in the profit and loss account debit side. Right? Now, here expenses are classified into four categories mainly. Employee benefit expenses related to employees, finance cost related to expenses related to interest, and depreciation and amortization related to fixed assets and current assets, and other expenses are like rent paid, like insurance, like advertisement. See, all other bad debts, provision for bad debts, all these are shown under the other expenses categories, and the total will be total expenses. This is total revenue, right? This is total expenses. And profit before exceptional and extraordinary item and tax. That will be total revenue minus total expenses will be the profit before tax, profit before extraordinary item, and profit before exceptional item. Then you have to deduct exceptional item if there is any. Then you have to deduct extraordinary item if there is any. Then you have to deduct tax. These three items are to be deducted from the. This is profit, and the balance will be profit after tax. Right? Sorry. Profit before tax. If you deduct this item, exceptional item, right? Extraordinary item, if you deduct exceptional item, the balance will be profit before extraordinary item and tax. If you deduct extraordinary item, the profit will be before tax, right? PBT, profit before tax. From the profit before tax, deduct tax expenses, current tax and deferred tax, right? MAT credit. That will be the profit after tax. Profit after tax means profit available for distribution, profit available for appropriation. From that profit, that profit is transferred to the balance sheet and reserves and surplus that will be distributed as dividends. And here also in the below this category, I mean below this column, you have to show earnings per equity share. Earnings per equity share should be shown separately, that is basic earnings and diluted earnings. And this statement should be statement of profit or loss, or balance sheet should be right prepared by the chartered accountant of the company, and it should be on behalf of the managing director and the directors and the secretary will sign on this. That will be the authentic financial statement. So this is how you might have get the idea here. You might have get the idea of preparation of statement of profit or loss and balance sheet, and it should be prepared in the same format. And the balance sheet and statement of profit or loss must contain the right same content which are shown in the which are given in the Schedule 3 of the Companies Act of 2013. Right? So this is enough today. In the next class, we will work out some examples on the preparation of statement of profit or loss and also the balance sheet of the company as per revised Schedule 3 of the Companies Act of 2013. Thank you.